All right, in other news, DA leader John Steenhuisen is set to lead a march against corruption in Klerksdorp, that's in the northwest. Allegations of corruption have surfaced against Matlosana Local Municipality Mayor and CFO, Phetla. She faces charges relating to the alleged authorization of fraudulent payments to a construction and projects company, as well as failing to disclose a vehicle valued at 1.4 million rand received from them. For more on this, let's bring in our reporter on the ground, Sentleeng Lehihi, who joins us via our video link. And Sentleeng, of course, what might be taking place there may be the DA shining a spotlight on very legitimate issues in the municipality, but obvious questions are going to come up about using that for political expediency.
She'll be so cross.
Oh, what a pity. It seems like Sentleeng Lehihi, our reporter there on the ground, isn't able, I beg your pardon, to hear us. So what we'll try to do is re-establish that connection. But as you can see, that march well underway with members of the public seemingly joining in. But that's going to be part of the questions being raised, of course, about the extent to which this is nothing but electioneering and politicking. Sentleeng, I hope you're able to hear us now. Take us through some of the sentiments that are being expressed by some people there who I'm sure in many instances agree with the importance of the issues raised, but are also keeping in mind that a lot of these parties are on the ground in the lead up to the elections.
Absolutely. A good morning to you and our viewers. The streets of Klerksdorp colored blue as the DA it's out in its numbers to ensure that the road towards the 2024 elections are actually going to guarantee them some sort of victory. As you understand that the major reason of holding this march is to speak on the corruption challenges facing this province, the service delivery challenges that we are facing in this province. Ironically, the street that we are walking through is riddled with potholes, and we've actually requested some members of the DA to assist our colleague Silomo Khopa there, not to find himself in the deepest end of the potholes in this area. But just to have a better context about the DA's move here, let's speak to Mr. Steenhuisen and understand why Klerksdorp, why this walk?
Well, because this is the epicenter of the failure of service delivery here in the Northwest Province. Municipality that's not working, it's riddled with corruption, riddled with cadre deployment, water outages, people going without electricity. These are huge issues, and the provincial government is not doing anything about it because they don't intervene properly, because they're scared of the factional battles that exist here between the provincial people and the local people. Where municipalities like this fail in DA-led provinces like the Western Cape, we intervene. We don't let things get out of control here. There are more potholes here than road left in many of these areas. This used to be the car dealership capital of the country. People say that the motor licensing department can only license 12 cars a day. Businesses are moving away from here. When local infrastructure fails, business move away. And that when businesses move away, they take jobs with them. So if we're going to fix job creation in the country, we've got to focus on infrastructure and infrastructure-led growth. And Klerksdorp is a really good sign here of just how bad service delivery is and how bad infrastructure is bad for business and bad for jobs.
And as you're saying, Kosh was known as an industry capital for the Northwest Province, once a mining capital, now a capital of Zamazamas.
Yes, absolutely. Crime and criminality. And this is what happens when you allow law and order to break down in these areas. You've got mines that are unable to operate because they're infiltrated by very well-organized, well-funded Zamazamas who are taking minerals and out of the earth and taking it out of our country. We receive no benefit from that illegal mining industry in South Africa, and all it does is undermine the existing mining industry that should be growing and creating jobs, but is finding an environment that's even more difficult. And that is why, even with the Anglo-American proposed takeover, there's 95,000 jobs at risk. They don't want the South African assets because they know it's very, very difficult to do business here. And that'll be really difficult for South Africa to be able to create jobs if we're losing jobs in the way that we're doing, because we've got a government that doesn't have the right policies, we've got infrastructure that's failing, and we've got corruption that riddles every sector of government, whether it's local, provincial or national.
And DA, is it showing itself to also be seen in the hinterlands of the province? Now
Yes.
Here, you are in the more affluent areas. We will see you in Khanyisa.
I'm going to Mafeking next, and then we're going to a few other parts, rural parts. Remember last year I was already around here. We did a rural South Africa tour, and I visited many of the smaller towns in the northwest where obviously, even there, service delivery is really ground to a halt. And it's exactly this that we want to get in and fix. Remember, this may be a national and provincial election, but there's huge power at a national level and a provincial level to intervene and to ensure that municipalities are able to operate properly. And that's exactly what we're saying. If we get a chance to be part of a provincial government here and a part of a government at a national level, we will intervene and bring bureaucrats and experts into these municipalities to get control of the finances, to stop the looting and start service delivery rolling out. We can't wait till the 2026 local government elections. Places like Klerksdorp need help now. Many of these rural towns need help now. And we must use this election to start that process of fixing what has been broken.
Speaking about power and keeping a balance and watchdog element on power, what do you make of these developments and the storm that is brewing within the SABC with what is happening with our leader, Mr. Monare?
I think it is absolutely outrageous. And you may recall I said very, very clearly at the time they moved the State Security Agency into the presidency that it was a bad idea. Because once you get that happening, you start to see a political influence being exerted. Now, this is just 2 weeks after the president made those ominous comments in that leaked recording that people who report negatively on the ANC will be dealt with. And now suddenly the head of news at SABC is being called in for vetting. The head of news at the SABC shouldn't be subject to vetting. We need an independent media in South Africa, a media that is able to report without fear or favor. And this is clearly an intimidatory tactic. But it just shows us the ANC are so terrified that they're losing their grip on power that they're resorting to these authoritarian tactics. And our message is very clear. Hands off the SABC, get the State Security Agency out of independent and free media reporting, because once they start with the media, it'll be a short jump before they start harassing political parties, and then we're back with the SSA under the Zuma years. We're undertaking that if we get into government, we will disband the State Security Agency and we will rebuild an intelligence network in South Africa and an intelligence body in South Africa that's truly independent, free of cadre deployment, from the ground up again. This State Security Agency is fraught to the core. We saw it happen when Arthur Fraser was in charge there. We saw all those shenanigans that were going on there. Nothing has improved. And by calling it into the presidency, the president is now making the same mistake that Zuma did, thinking that the State Security Agency is there to do his bidding rather than to protect the national interest of the people of South Africa. An intelligence service should be protecting the people of South Africa, not politicians, and not doing the bidding of a political party. And I think that the president needs to be warned that if he continues to use the State Security Agency for political purposes, to intimidate the media and to intimidate the opposition, he's going to have a pushback on his hands, the likes of which he's never seen before. He must not make the same mistakes as his predecessor. And the sooner we get the State Security Agency out of the presidency and into an independent, standalone organization, the safer it's going to be for all of us in South Africa.
Thank you so much for your time. The leader of the DA there, mincing no words as they are leading this march here in the Matlosana Local Municipality in Klerksdorp. From us here, back to you in studio.
All right, Sentleeng Lehihi, thanks very much indeed for that reporting. Sentleeng is live to us there, as you've heard, from Klerksdorp in the northwest.